Libra, I am going to do a second spread for you. So you'll see that you'll have two readings this week. One will be Libra number one and one will be Libra number two. That being said, the Libra number one message felt very personal to me. It felt like a personal situation that's actually going on in my life right now. So I feel like I may have pulled in more of my own energy than the Libra energy. Because it's a personal situation, actually two personal situations, possibly three, that have a similar theme but completely different situations with three Libras in my life right now. So I feel like that was too much of my personal energy. However, I wanted to post both of them because I didn't want to hold back what came through in the cards. Because if I'm dealing with several Libras that have a similar theme to the process, then I feel other Libras needed to hear it. But in case that was too personal and didn't resonate to the general crowd, I'm going to do a little bit more of a general reading for Libra right now that I've gone through all the signs, saged a little, and cleared that energy. So welcome to your second Hopes, Fears, and Reality spread for this week. As per usual, if you check the description box below, it will talk about how to use the spread, the significance of the spread, and the placement of the cards. This is just as deep as the last one, I'm sure. Libra's going through a lot. Okay, so Libra, you are hoping for transition. You are hoping for transition that will shake up the foundation that you're in. I want to say you aren't hoping for a tower moment. Those of you familiar with the tarot, the tower card is an outside force that disrupts your foundation. But in all honesty, the storm and thunder and lightning didn't come out of the blue. You kind of saw it coming. This is often like people who missed the red flags and didn't react soon enough, and then everything falls into turmoil. The death card is about transition, but it's about a slow moving transition. So what I'm saying here, Libra, is you're not hoping for a tower moment. You're hoping to be the tower. It's almost like you want to tear something down and start a new beginning. That's your hope. The fear in the situation is that once it's all done, you'll have all the pieces of the puzzle laying on the ground, and you think you know what to do with them. But you fear that you will put them back into play the same way that they were before. So you're really, really hoping for change. Okay? But you fear that even if you tear everything down, you'll just wind up right back where you were. And why is that? That's what we're going to look into in just a moment. Now, the reality of the situation is, see, again, this is very conflicting. You are, I have such a small channel, but I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there. I don't mean to drop names to gain popularity, but there is a tarot card reader online called Rich Lopp, Lopp. And he talks about Libras always being flippy floppy. Okay. So I credit where credit is due. He came up with that. And I do see that in Libra reads a lot because the Libra card is the Justice card and they're always seeking balance. But the problem is a Libra who's working in low vibration will only be seeking balance for themselves and in their own head. So what they're forgetting is they're in the moment. And while they're in the moment, they aren't looking at the big picture. So they're only seeking balance for that moment in that situation, which doesn't necessarily agree with them once they're in a new environment. So let's say if you are hanging out with your best friend, you know, you're in the moment and you're seeking balance for yourself within that moment. Then let's say you go to work. Well, that's a whole different balance that you have to seek within that moment. And what that leads to, especially with Libras, and this is what I'm getting for your reality, is what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. Okay? So that's what I'm getting in your reality, because you have the Knight of Pentacles and you have the Page of Pentacles. And these both you have the Knight of Pentacles in the inverse and the Page of Pentacles in the upright. So what that says to me is that you have these resources here and you just can't decide what to do with it because your environment changes on a daily basis depending on who you're with. And if you're only serving to seek balance in the moment, you'll never know where to allocate your resources for the long term and the bigger picture. So let's talk about cognitive dissonance. The best way to describe cognitive dissonance, if you're not familiar, is somebody who smokes. Okay, let's say you're a smoker and you recognize, somebody who smokes and has tried to quit once, maybe twice. So you're a smoker and you recognize that smoking isn't good for you. You know it. You know what it's going to do to your lungs. You know what it's going to do to your heart, and you're just like, I know smoking is bad for me, but it makes me feel good right now. Sound familiar? Within the environment, you're like, oh, I know smoking is bad for me, but I really like a cigarette after I eat. Oh, I know smoking is bad for me, but it relieves my stress. Oh, I know smoking is bad for me, but I always like to smoke after sex. I don't know. Whatever the situation is, it's like you have a logical belief on one hand and an emotional need on the other. And what happens is, you know what the truth is. You know that smoking has all of these negative effects. But when you want to have a cigarette, you tell yourself it's okay because. That's cognitive dissonance. That's what you have in your reality right now, is you have that flippy floppy energy of saying, I know this should be this way, but I'm going to make it this way right now just because. Oh boy, this is similar to the other read, I guess. Yeah. You're not making choices, but you want to create something new. Let me repeat that. You are not making choices, but you want to create something new. You don't know how to get started on this something new. You know that you don't have the full-on recipe. So I hate to say this, but maybe the first reading was the only thing that was needed, although I'm going to put both of these up. Libra, how much of what you do every day is to make you happy? And how much of what you do every day is to convince other people that you're happy? That's the question I'm going to leave you with. I hope you found a message that serves your highest good. If you feel so inclined to Google cognitive dissonance, it's a very interesting thing. Cognitive dissonance does lead to PTSD in very extreme situations, especially with our armed forces, our frontline workers, our military, our police officers, the people who society makes heroes. So if that's your line of work, really look into what cognitive dissonance is. And then again, ask yourself, how much time do I spend a day making myself happy? And how much time do I spend every day trying to convince other people that I'm happy? Libra, good luck. Best wishes. And I hope you found a message here that serves your highest good. I'll see you next week.